Hello everyone, I'm Lost, and me and Chase actually did a comprehensive breakdown of all the new Elden Ring information. There is quite a lot of it. As you can see, this video here is 1.5 hours long, and we are giving you our raw, unfiltered opinions. It's all done quick and dirty, so we reserve the right to be absolutely wrong on all of these things. I also want you to know that I only had 30 minutes of footage to spare, so yeah, I'm going to be looping that. And without further ado, let's jump into it, and I hope you guys enjoy.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I started my recording. Is your recording started, Chase?
Yes, I think we are good. We can hear the news together.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
You want to take turns reading each of the paragraphs?
Yeah,
Or
sure.
each point? Yeah, you can go first.
I can go first. So,
I must wake up.
yo, yeah, you just got up. You got your coffee? Is it good?
I do, actually, yeah. I do.
Alright, I'll start here. In this Elden Ring new gameplay breakdown and impressions, new mechanics revealed article, I'll be discussing my thoughts about Elden Ring after watching a 17-minute gameplay demonstration, having a brief presentation by FromSoft's Yasuhiro Kitao. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and getting
Yes, we don't want to butcher that.
yeah, we'll get the hatred. And getting to ask as many questions about Elden Ring's mechanics as we can. If you've been dying to know more about Elden Ring and have been wondering what the gameplay is like, read on and find out. Note to fans, this is a comprehensive article confirming many mechanics, weapon types, revealing new features, spells, enemies, and even locations and NPC names. If you're trying to go in blind, you should probably be avoiding all coverage moving forward. So the first thing that is of real value here is going to be the character customization. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, like if you look, they actually have like a talking point for each of the quick navigations too. So they show a decent amount of it as we're gonna go down.
Oh yeah, there is a lot of stuff here to go through. So Elden Ring new gameplay breakdown and impressions. Yeah, that's just a title. I don't have to read that. There have been
Honestly though, it's pretty interesting that they showed them 17 minutes, right? But they didn't put any at the Gamescom, even though IGN had one, I think, or is having one currently.
Yeah, I believe that we are going to be getting those 17 minutes that they showed off. I think we'll be getting it a little later.
Yeah, I guess they just weren't ready for it to go into the Gamescom, which is sad, but at least they give us all this information. So if we jump, is the next one customer character?
Yeah, the next
is it? Yeah.
Yes. So
Elden Ring new breakdown. This is just like a synopsis right here.
Yeah. There have been many comparisons between Elden Ring and Dark Souls, and it's really no secret that the latest From Software game is heavily inspired with Dark Souls and has been called its spiritual successor. Yeah, we kinda know this.
Yeah, at least they do confirm it though, that they know they're going right off of the Dark Souls mechanics as well. That's pretty cool.
Elden Ring is not like Bloodborne. It doesn't reimagining the core of Dark Souls combat in a familiar yet distinct fashion. It simply takes the Dark Souls formula and adds things like jump and stances. We did have some stances, though. Weapon arch could be considered that. So
yeah, I think stances. Maybe they mean more weapon art type stances since they have the interchangeability. But I'm sure. You know, it'll discuss it in the combat, but
yeah, Neo has stances, you know, and from those
does it?
Stances,
I never actually played Neo.
Well, basically, every single weapon have like a high, a medium, and low stance, and those stances basically decide how quickly you attack and how much damage those attacks do.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably not as comprehensive as Neo, but you know that's what I think about when they say stances.
True, and they weren't comparing it to Bloodborne, because Bloodborne's combat is pretty different. Even here it says like this was not the case with Bloodborne, as you had to learn to dodge and parry attacks.
Yeah.
And when you use the rally mechanic with no reliance on shields. That's true. Bloodborne doesn't really have shields, right? Other than the plank shield.
It did get one more shield in the DLC, but
did it?
Yeah, even so,
okay.
It's not a shield game. Nobody uses the shields.
True, I didn't. I mean, the guns are just there for parries, right? So
yeah, pretty
much.
much.
It doesn't say here. While some may be wondering if Elden Ring is too similar to Dark Souls, a better way to describe this is to consider the Elden Ring is a Dark Souls experience with a lot more player freedom. Freedom to make your character exactly how you want, whether it's a warrior, mage, or a fully functioning archer. That's interesting. I wonder like if they buffed bows in some way to make them useful alone.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they do, because
I mean, I guess you can do like a PvE playthrough with just a bow, right? I guess I'm
Yeah.
thinking of it more in PvP terms, but
I think, I think it's good to mention that both of us really think in terms of PvP. While
yeah, I
reading
guess
through
when we
this.
think of mechanics, that's our first go-to because the PvE I can do regardless. I don't
Yeah.
even like no matter what I'm gonna enjoy it. So I just think of it as balancing for PvP. Yeah. What else? Freedom to engage enemies when and where you want. I guess in terms of your build, whether it's from stealth or by jumping down onto them and then unleashing your spirit summon. So they probably still have the plunge, jumping down onto them.
Yeah.
And the freedom to go wherever your heart takes you, whether it's into the legacy dungeons. Those must be the main areas. It has
Yeah.
like a link where it's going to drag us down there, but that looks like a castle or a camp full of enemies guarding valuable items. It's like the main areas, I suppose, right?
Yeah, it's basically the Erithil or the Duke's
Yeah.
Archives, that type of
So
area.
basically, when you think of, I guess the lands between is like the connection between the Dark Souls worlds, right? But it's just gigantic. They made it like an open world. That's really, it's going to be different. Elden Ring is designed to let you tackle its dramatically larger landscape the way you want, swapping some of Dark Souls' progression walls for more exploration and character customization. Okay, so like way more ways to go. That's a little bit
Yeah.
less stuck on like a one or two bosses. Because Dark Souls 3, I think, only usually has like one or two routes you can go at a time, right? And like eventually you have to do them.
Yeah, I mean,
You have
basically,
yeah.
you have a little bit of leeway, but not that much. So this is gonna
Yeah,
be
it's not
interesting.
really open world. Yeah, that is good. That is good. Ooh, look at that. The customization of your character lost your favorite.
Oh, let me take that, because you know what? I spent
that.
so much time, man, creating characters.
I
it's-
hope we can save our face. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to have to
All-
keep doing that.
all of the games have had a face save, every single one. So I would be super surprised if this isn't the case. But let me read this and let's see what we find. Players will once again be able to create their character to their liking with a character editor, as well as choose a starting class, which probably doesn't mean squat.
Yeah, it'll probably just have like some optimal stats for a build, but ultimately, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, ultimately we'll probably just find the best class, which is probably like
Yeah, there's
one
gonna
with
be
the most
one.
luck.
Watch it be a knight.
Yeah.
Oh
Anyway,
my god.
we don't know their starting names yet, but as we were not shown them, but we expect these should affect your starting attributes and equipment and whatever. The brief interactions and scenes shown depicted several characters from that seem to match what players would expect. Known classes to be like a strength-based greatsword build, an axe-wielding barbarian, spear-using knight or a paladin, twin sword assassin, a staff build, a range, standard.
Yeah, interesting though that they. I wonder if they'll actually lean more heavily towards like if you're a strength build that actually starts with a decent amount of strength. In Dark Souls 3, warrior and knight are kind of like close. They're barely different.
Yeah, I kind of hope that the next classes will allow us to min-max a little bit more, just to give all of the classes a little bit more identity, because they don't have much identity now.
Yeah, in Dark Souls 3, you choose a knight, you can be, I think, anything.
Yeah, basically.
I think, I'm thinking of all my builds. You can make a dark build, like a pyro, out of a knight, basically, and it becomes even at, like, level 90 with the other stat, like any other class, so yeah.
Yeah, part of this has to do with the fact that a lot of weapons requires so many points in dexterity and so many points in strength to use them. And
yeah.
because of that, all the classes needs to have at least that amount of stuff. So maybe lowering some of the secondary stats, like maybe we don't need as much dex to wield a halberd, for example. I think that could be good.
Yeah, if it's not like a pure dex weapon, like let's say a katana, I don't know, having the lower requirements would be better, yeah.
Now, FromSoft has confirmed that attributes will be similar to other Souls games, but a couple of unique to Elden Ring, which weren't divulged. A note was the mention of agility specifically, and that strength would play some part in your equipment load, but otherwise players can expect a similar experience.
That's a very different agility. I wonder if agility is gonna... I don't know, actually.
Well, Dark Souls 2 had adaptability, which
I know, I was just thinking that.
yeah, affected your iframes, which honestly, I hope it doesn't, because iframes are incredibly powerful, and that means that all of the characters have to have that
agility, yeah.
leveled up.
I will just
to a
like
certain
up to the
extent.
annoyance of us all leveling that one stat. I hope they
Yeah.
don't do that. If agility does, yeah, I don't even know what else it could do though. I'm just trying to think of like agility specifically. Like if you swing your sword faster in any way, everyone's gonna level that. If you run faster, everyone's gonna level that. Like,
Yeah.
I guess we'll see what it does.
I mean, it's interesting though. What if, if agility makes you move a little faster and strength has more equipment load? I suppose you have to level up strength to wield the bigger,
Heavier weapons.
heavier weapons. So
Yeah, maybe they balanced it in a way that, yeah, that you could be a fast character but still be as strong, strength, and tanky, I guess, in a way. I don't know.
it's going
I
to
really
be
don't know.
that balancing act there is going to affect the game a lot. So
Yeah, especially since they made note of mentioning that it's an agility specific stat, like it's its own stat.
So I think then we will be spending months figuring out the specific things that
especially
we
with
need
all
to know.
the weapons.
Yeah.
Equipment works much like the way it does in Souls games, slowing your roll or preventing you from rolling entirely if you're not strong enough to use your equipment. Okay, that's interesting. Strong enough to use your equipment. I wonder if they mean just like over encumbered, or if they mean there's going to be requirements for things.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
They also confirmed that leveling up will work as it often has. Players will collect runes, which are effectively the new souls that allows players to level up and place points in these attributes. These are lost upon death, so pretty much standard stuff. There's a bloodstain. The name is currently subject to change, but the speculation is that the original code name for the game, being Great Rune, is likely related to the game's currency. You go ahead now, Chase. Let's talk about skills.
Wow, did you hear about the Great Rune name back when it first got released? Actually, a lot of people said that the name got leaked and it was Great Rune. That's funny.
Yeah,
I guess it might have been because they called it runes. So
I mean, most of these games have some sort of code name when it's
true.
out. So in case of a leak, which of course happened,
inevitably,
yeah.
for FromSoft, they got some heavy leakers.
So now we have, now they can push back the official name of it. So it's good for them. But you go ahead and read the next part there, Chase.
What is this? We're at skills. Okay.
Yeah.
Players are familiar with the weapon arts of Dark Souls 3 and can now expect to see a deeper version of this system in the form of skills. Yes, interchangeable ones, hopefully. I hope they have like a limit on it though.
Yeah.
Skills are special moves that add surprising effects and flair to your combat, from creating projectile type bladed winds. Kinda new. They kinda have something similar in Dark Souls 3, but they're adding like ranged weapon arts. That's kinda cool. If there's gonna be more of them. To throw at your opponent. So giving you a 360-degree run and bash with your shield. That's huge. Shields don't really have much function currently, honestly.
That
Well,
could
the
be
bash weapon arts
good.
suck,
That could
Yeah.
be so good, man. Yeah.
That could be really good if it's like a good zoning one. You can expect skills to be an actual important factor in your build and combat approach. Yes, seems that way.
So, especially because, a few spoilers here. We read that Elden Ring will only have invasions for co-op players. So
Yes, early spoilers for you guys. I'm
Yeah.
sure you're here mostly for that anyway, but yeah, you will see down below.
then it will be important for FromSoft to give us some anti-gank skills. I mean, we do have that in Dark Souls, but I don't think these were really specifically created to fight multiple opponents, but a 360-degree run.
Yeah, just kind of, that's pretty cool. There's not many weapons that have that currently in Dark Souls, like a 360 hitbox.
Yeah, exactly. So,
It's like,
I mean, if we're talking about weapon arts, we were talking about how you can put weapon arts on certain weapons now. So I'm really thinking that depending on the weapon, they will have access to a certain wider range of arts, but you can't take perseverance and put it on like twin daggers.
Everything. That's what I was thinking. I bet you they'll limit it to like certain classes. Like, you know, those quick dagger weapon arts, they probably won't put that on like a medium style weapon, but we'll see.
Probably not.
Where was this? Where in previous games, weapon arts were assigned to one of the several weapons. This time around, you will also gain skills by defeating bosses or finding them as a treasure around the game world that can be equipped and used with certain weapon types. Okay.
Yeah, there you go, man.
Certain weapon types. I want to make note here that not one time was it mentioned that you can equip any skill with any weapon. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
And that it seems like words were chosen carefully to avoid making such statements. That does make sense. What is this quote, though? It does seem like there will be at least some restrictions on which skills can be used with which weapons, but we're not entirely clear what those are just yet. It may be this is still up for debate internally, as not all systems have been completely finalized. It has been confirmed that there will be over 100 of these defined, which promises a great amount of variety in possible combat combinations.
I mean, dude, we will have a field day making videos on creating.
I know.
This build has these weapon arts, and this build has this one. So many combinations, man.
That's insane. You know, like currently how like in Dark Souls 3 people have learned to like swap their weapons manually and then use their weapon art, you know? Now, I bet you people are going to learn to swap their weapon arts on the fly if they can do that.
It's going to be... oh my
that's,
God, yeah.
That's right? Like, think about that. You don't need to switch your sword anymore. You can now just maybe switch your skill. Unless you have to bind it at the bonfire or something. But, like, it could be interesting. Very, very cool.
If I was in charge, I would put it so that you have to bind it at the bonfire. But we will see. We will see.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that, but you never know with them.
You never know. Now, I'll take the next one. This one is about spirit summons. Now,
yes, our buddies.
Or referred to as buddies in Japanese, are a new feature that will also play an integral part in your character build. And these are acquired by defeating specific enemies. The ashes of these enemies can be slotted and used to summon their phantoms to you, aid by expanding focus points, which you might remember from Dark Souls 3, which is the blue mana bar. You can use...
yes.
Yeah. You can now use spirit summons in battle to deal with enemies or distract them while you face others, and a very important in situation where there are many enemies staring you down. Elden Ring has a particular place in the world, like enemy encampments, that are just loaded with enemies, making it much more difficult to just charge in and kill them all. Using a spirit summons helps to make these fights more manageable, and thus as does the addition of stealth, which is an addition.
Yeah, that is interesting that they have a stealth mechanic. I wonder.
I mean, I read the IGN
I know you
article,
love that, yes. Okay.
And I do love the stealth, which is, again, if we're gonna get only co-op invasion, stealth is gonna be important. But I read in the IGN article that there is a sleep arrow, man.
Oh, I think I heard about that. I didn't read through all of this yet, but yeah, that's interesting, and I wonder if it works on PvP.
I mean, Dark Souls pacifist playthrough.
Oh yeah, well, okay. Just imagine sleeping the bosses and just walking by them.
I would imagine you have to kill them, but everything else.
I imagine.
Everything else.
Oh yeah, the bird was the NPC there. It says it right there, yeah.
Yeah.
You continue.
Even in this short demonstration, we saw a great variety of spirit summons, from a falcon to humanoid trolls and even fire-breathing dragon spirits. This is in line with From Software's promise that we will enjoy a great variety of enemies in the game, which so far seems to hold true, as we spotted a few familiar enemy types and many new and innovative ones. Think harpies, trolls, armored and unarmored humanoid residents, grotesque winged titans, feathered dragons, tentacle-faced giants, deformed gargoyles, goblins, blade talons, giant eagles, and all with ragdoll!
No, I love how they added that at the end. They're like, they all lay there.
And there's even a winky face in the actual article.
I guess people really like the ragdoll physics, huh?
Yeah. Now, speaking of these Pokemon creatures, basically, that's gonna be interesting, right? Because we now have...
Yeah, you know...
in PvP, as is our go-to here, can I summon like a boss creature in order to make their world worse?
Yeah, that's what I was really thinking. Like, even vice versa. Like, you know, if we invade somebody and they have, let's say, two teammate phantoms, can they also then summon their NPC summons? Because maybe in a way that's why they might have limited the online amount of people, just because they can do so much of this. But
if I was in charge, which of course I am not, I would allow the host to summon his NPC creature and the invader to summon that creature. But
maybe not every phantom, because it might get a little excessive. Yeah, I can see how they were having trouble trying to balance that with the online PvP. You can just have like so many creatures. Yeah,
there is certainly the risk of Elden Ring being probably the biggest gank fest Souls have ever seen with all of this.
Which honestly, you know what, whatever, that makes for the most interesting combat.
You know what, I have said this many times, if I had to choose to fight single hosts or if I had to choose fighting against, multiple opponents, not necessarily ganks, but let's say multiple opponents, I'd take multiple opponents any day because it's more exciting.
I rarely even use, like, if I fight a lone host and kill them or anything, I don't really use that footage because it's not as interesting, I find, personally.
It's same
just
here.
Not as fun. There's no war, there's no ambush, there's nothing to it,
I want us to be at a disadvantage because, everybody loves an underdog, right?
Yeah, it makes it more interesting for sure. And also, what else do we have here? We have Elden Ring weapons and armor. Okay. Much like the Souls games, Elden Ring will feature a large variety of weapons and armor for the player to choose from, in what FromSoft says will be more than the previous titles. Okay. So they went with high weapon variety.
Combined?
Yeah, in all the Souls games. Oh man, combined. I think they mean each, but like, hey, I'm not judging here. I'm down for all the weapons. As mentioned, many of these are immediately recognizable from Dark Souls 3. So players who enjoyed some of the weapons in that game will likely be able to do the same in Elden Ring. However, one thing to take note is that twin blades will be making a return. Remember we speculated that in the trailer? It looked like that guy had a twin blade.
Yeah.
He did have a twin blade. That's cool. I never really got to use those because I didn't play much Dark Souls 2.
I did, and for the longest time, I think the twin blade was one of my main weapons.
Yeah, it's cool, honestly. I like a bow staff or twin blade. I just wanted something like that with that type of combat. The other weapons that we spotted were daggers, swords, long swords, great swords, curved swords, staves, or catalysts, bows, axes, spears, halberds, scythes, or reapers, whips, small, medium, and great shields, and a full-on. They're bringing back the lance. Okay.
You know what? Yeah, I mean the lance, while it's not what I would consider a meta weapon, it's just still very fun to use.
Yeah, it's hard to fight outnumbered, like if you're fighting 3v1 with it, because it doesn't have like a horizontal attack, really.
Yeah.
But it can be cool if you're alone with somebody. Also, look at this. I think he's holding a twin blade in this picture.
Oh, yeah, there's a giant-ass dragon, and it looks really cool.
Yeah.
And he does...
That's a new image. We didn't see that before.
That is a new image. We'll probably just post it in the video if we remember. But that twin blade... It's long, it's thin. Yeah, I mean, we are already 22 minutes in, and there's a lot more to go through, so we'll see.
We are? Oh, God.
Yeah, it's going to
be... I can't really cut any of this.
No, it's going to be an hour long, man.
All right, well, let's go. For armor references, it would seem we will be working with about the same equipment slots, featuring helmets, chests, gauntlets, and leggings. I love that. I don't think they should ever change that. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
They got that down. Some of the armor designs seem to favor some flavor of belts, so perhaps this is an addition, but it's entirely possible it was simply cosmetic of the armor designs. Okay. Interesting.
The look and feel of the armors will be very welcome by the Fashion Souls community, so fuck yeah, that's for me. That's for me, my man.
That's for you. You like the fashion. I do like the fashion too, but my stats are important to me too, so I hope they look good and are good.
Yeah. As they preserve the trademark Souls aesthetic while giving a fresh and more detailed look. The main armor that everyone has seen with the long white hair and the red clothing around the waist here that hints that the Alva set is just the beginning. The assassin-type character featured in the gameplay demonstration wore an Eastern-style bluish robe that with chained and jeweled fit armor, long open sleeves, and leather gauntlets, mixing Dark Souls 3's mercenary swag with the Lord Blade set. The Lord Blades. Yeah, I know the character for the first one.
Yeah.
The Knight Paladin Herald that we saw had blue armor set that made me think of a much better dressed Herald. The Barbarian we encountered was wearing what seemed like a much more Conan-like version of the Bandit set. And of course, remembering that equipment load is indeed a factor in the game, and players will be forced to make tough choices once again about how much armor they want to wear in order to be able to roll more quickly. As noted, strength plays a role in this in Elden Ring, making strength builds all more interesting when compared with magic builds. And speaking of which,
yes, you know what? They did say that. Did they say strength? Strength was the like vitality stat now, or it also did? Because if they said it was the equip load stat, that is interesting.
I mean, they said that strength affects equip load, but it might not be the only thing that.
Okay.
So maybe
if it was that, I could see that being interesting because then mages might not be able to. Well, they couldn't wear even decent armor and roll quickly, you know. So.
Yeah. No more Havel mages then.
Yeah, basically. But that's if they didn't bind the equip load only to strength. I guess we'll see.
Yes, as we talked about earlier, it's going to be really interesting to see how all of these things balances each other out. Maybe if you do level up a lot of strength, then being a mage build will be locked out of it, because we do have a little bit of flexibility now. You can either go faith, strength, or dex.
Yeah, true.
Int.
Currently, like by the time you do like the meta PvP levels, you can have like 2 main stats pretty much, and you're okay to go.
But
so
but maybe you can only have like 1 main stat or 2, or just like 2 semi-main stats. It's gonna be fascinating.
It will be. Hang on 1 second here. I'm just gonna stop the recording and start it again. I just wanna make sure that doesn't ever like fail on me.
Oh yes, no, well I'm looking at it and we're 22 minutes in. Now guys, I'm not going to cut out any of this because it's way too much work. So welcome to the Elden Ring podcast. I'm here with my friend Chase the Bro, and we're going through all of the new information that we have.
Yes, and where are we now? Okay, so you just finished reading that. So now we're on Elden Ring Magic.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of mages. Players will also be able to cast spells with the use of what seems to be staves or catalysts once again, using some familiar spells from Dark Souls 3 and a host of new spells as well. FromSoft confirmed that these use FP to cast, just like Dark Souls 3, and the mana system should be more or less be the same.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty good. I didn't want them, having unlimited magic or anything like that. I think this is good that they're binding it still to an FP bar and still calling it an FP bar, by the way.
Yeah, I mean it's a really solid system, and they're calling it FP, focus points, because you probably have to use the focus points in order to use the stances. So
yeah, it's probably going to be their new stance, and Weapon Arts that's going to use that as well.
Yeah.
So it's very similar. I mean, it's basically the same combat with additions, is I guess the best way to say it.
yeah.
I did not find out if there was any equivalent of the Ashen Estus flask in Elden Ring, but I would not be surprised if this was the case. We did, after all, see the player using some sort of flask to drink from to heal, and with the FP system remaining in place, it seems likely it will as well. And one of the items consumed during the fight seemed to glow the right color for magic boosting.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
classic stuff.
I guessed. I guessed that basically.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
That's a 8 out of 10 burp for you, Chase. Well
Epic.
done. You take the last part there, and I'll start on the next part.
Oh, this is part of the magic. Okay, yeah. If you are wondering what you can expect for your magic arsenal, we saw several pyromancies, including fireball hurls and a long and improved version of Firestorm. They really love their Firestorm, I have to say. It's been in like every game.
It's a magic that is it's fun. It's like a big ass explosion, so it's fun to use. Is it good in PvP?
Yeah, like currently not in 3, but an improved long version of it. Who knows?
If it was up to me, I would make the area effect larger, but maybe not change the speed of it, because you don't want it to be too powerful. So
Demon Souls Firestorm.
let's not talk about that.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Okay, so we also recognize several weapon buff effects that are glowing blue and yellow, hinting to magic and lightning effects. And lightning effects. We saw a fluid and beautiful version of Soul Dart's magic-based Soul Rain cast that created a magical storm that precipitated soul arrows down on the area. Oh my god, it's Aldrich's Soul Arrow Rain. Oh no. A ginormous version of a magic greatsword. Ginormous. Okay. A light-colored AoE of frontal scythes. That's interesting. And a particularly awesome frontal AoE magic that summoned lightning and seemed to cause an earth tremor on its conal wake.
Conal wake. Oh yeah, because it goes out in a cone then, basically.
Yeah. But earthquake?
Well,
question mark.
Perhaps
but okay.
it's one of those things when you attack with an ultra and you miss, it's still a little.
Oh, and it kind of shakes the screen a little bit. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah, we kind of do have that.
Too.
That's interesting though. At least they're trying to make it more interesting. Like the Soul Rain is kind of cool, you know.
Yeah.
And they brought back the Magic Greatsword and frontal scythes. I mean, we kind of have that scythe miracle, you know, in Dark Souls 3. Life Hunt Scythe, it steals health, but it's
Yeah.
not very interesting.
No, it's not. Maybe if it was quicker and it had like a larger cone, it could be used like the Soul Greatsword. Basically, it's just more awkward
Yeah,
to use. Yeah.
It's so slow too. So I hope they like make it maybe like magic less damage, higher speed sometimes. Makes
Yeah.
it viable like alone without a teammate, but
Well, yeah, exactly, because all the dangerous mages are always in a team. It's always support.
yeah, like it's not too bad if someone's spamming like Crystal Soul Spear currently alone, you just dodge it. But
Yeah.
if they have like teammates, it makes it strong, yeah.
Well, speaking of combat, Elden Ring combat has evolved apparently. As I mentioned a bit earlier, the combat of Elden Ring is by and large the same as Dark Souls 3, just with a few new mechanics tacked on top in order to provide the player with more options. These are jumping, stances, and stealth. Having a dedicated jump button allows you to jump straight up in the air, much like Sekiro, allowing you to attack while doing so as well, so that's going to be a thing.
Okay.
I'm a little bit worried about this, that a lot of the gameplay will just be us jumping up and down.
Jumping
and
in
up
the
and
air,
down.
slashing. Yeah, I hope it's slow and not like a speedy jump, I guess is the best way I should put it.
Yeah. Give me a second, I have to close the door because somebody's mowing the lawn outside.
Okay.
The joys of being in the studio, I suppose, in the apartment.
Yes. The grassy lumps are for you.
But, you know, jumping it scares me a little bit, but I have faith in FromSoft.
Yeah, at least they managed to say like having a dedicated jump button allows you to jump straight up in the air. Like maybe not like diagonally in every direction, you know, maybe just up. That's not as bad.
We'll
just up.
Yeah, we'll see. This also applies to using bows and spells, so you can actually jump shoot enemies with a bow if you want to. And it's also worth noting this seemed extremely smooth when watching the gameplay.
Okay, well at least they mentioned that because yeah, they compared it to Sekiro right there too. So
Yeah, I just hope that the landing part of the jump actually commits you to like a roll or a landing or something, so that it's not
yeah,
a jump.
not
just
like the
infinity.
just jump,
Yeah.
jump. Like that'd be just hard to track. I don't know how you would do that, but I guess we'll see. I mean, they must be confident in it if they said it looks smooth.
But you know, it's kind of interesting because when I was playing the mod that allowed me to PvP in Sekiro, there weren't
Oh
that
yeah, you
much,
tried that, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't get that many smooth fights, but I did get one smooth fight, and it wasn't a lot of jumping in that in that game. So you know, when you wanted to attack, you had to dedicate yourself. So no, I think I talked myself into being more calm about this.
Yeah, maybe like honestly, if you're in the air, you're kind of open, right? Like I wonder what kind of openings you have, like what swings will affect them in the air. That's really the huge factor. And if
Yeah.
it does, like everything will hit them, it's not that bad, you know?
You might even have weapons that do extra damage against people in the air. Maybe if you're in the air, you can you take like a bonus crit or something.
Yeah, like instability, kind of like in Dark Souls 3, something like that. You know, where you're
Yeah.
running and you do the little pivot animation and you get hit, you take extra damage.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Maybe it's like that. Because I don't imagine they could guard well in the air. So yeah, I guess we'll see. But
Now, the other thing that's added was referred to as stances. A good comparison to this would be posture from Sekiro, allowing you an opening for a devastating attack if you break your opponent's stance. Okay. That's
okay, so
not
that
how
is
I thought
different.
it was.
Yeah, especially since okay, so wait. Unlike Sekiro, I don't believe this will be a visible, and instead you will operate much the way that Souls mechanics do, with a hidden gauge that fills up as you attack with certain attacks. So it's not going to be like a posture meter.
No.
It's just going to be like, you know what, bosses already kind of have that, or same with,
Yeah.
well, players have poise, but bosses already have that, you know, where you like hit them and then all of a sudden they're stunned and you can crit them.
Yeah, exactly, because it says there, once it's completely full, the enemy is exposed and you can hit them for massive damage in what looks very much like a visceral attack from Bloodborne. So,
Yeah, so I mean that is a thing in Dark Souls 3 for the PvE and bosses. Like you hit them sometimes and they're unstable and you can go crit them, you know?
it sounds like shield breaking, basically.
Yeah, kinda. So I wonder if if that could be used in PvP too. I wonder what it'll be like. Just a random crit opening, if I don't know.
Well, it's interesting, because what if this is akin to, let's say, the bleed or poison effect? So you hit the person and the meter fills up, and when...
Oh, slowly, and when they've been
Yeah.
hit enough, you get a free like type of crit. That would be interesting. I mean,
that could...
works for both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they balance it correctly, that would be like bleed is now, except when you really make
When
them
you
bleed.
proc it, you get
Yeah.
a crit. Yeah, it's kind of better in a way because they can't roll that. Bleed kind of sucks.
It kind of does. It's a.
It's
I
so
mean,
sad.
I
That
made
would've
a
been cool,
bleed.
though.
I made a bleed video just the other day, and it's fun playing with it, but it's not something that is going to.
Best, yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to take on a gank with a bleed build. Let's just say it like it is.
And do the best. Yeah, I mean, possible, just not the best. These two things combining with stealth should make for more interesting combat as a whole. Your favorite loss. That's true. Maybe, what if you get like a... Well, obviously, they still have crits then, because they just kind of said it right there, right?
Yeah.
I guess if you attack from stealth, maybe you build that faster, or you get a crit, and yeah. Maybe crit from stealth, who knows?
I mean, this is going to be so exciting, because for me, you know, when I was ever playing with my Pale Man build and doing the trolling videos, those were great, but there was a lifespan to the trolling. I basically done everything
Yeah,
at
I
this
mean,
point.
once the community knows all the points in the area where they can get like ambushed easily, and Dark Souls 3 was kind of small in that terms, you know?
But in
This
Yeah.
This doesn't seem like it.
Because in this case, if I stealth attack people, I can make like several different types of videos. You'll have your standard videos that we make now, where we just run in and we fight
PvP,
and we
we'll all out, go to war. Yeah.
But what about a more tension-filled sneaking video?
Sneak attack where you're trying to kill them off stealthily, each
Yeah.
one, you know, that could be fun. That could be fun.
That-
Speaking of, look, you take the next point because you love stealth. This
Oh
is
yeah,
for you.
I will definitely take this. Okay, all right.
This is your favorite. You go ahead.
Much like Sekiro, Elden Ring features stealth mechanics that let you sneak up and backstab enemies if you wish. This can help you thin out larger groups of enemies, improving your odds in head-to-head combat with some of the game's tougher enemies. You can scout enemy areas from afar using a binocular and plan your approach based on the enemies that you spot. So that's also just to say that binoculars will allow me to do more cinematic videos.
Reconnaissance?
Yeah.
Yeah, true. And reconnaissance.
And
And also
reconnaissance.
backstab. Last time we
so
watched
good.
stuff, they didn't mention anything about that. Really, we were speculating, but it says backstab enemies. So
Yeah, I'm not surprised that we
Booty
get
is
that.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, me either. I mean, it's part of the combat. Like, yeah.
One thing new that was an addition of Sleep Arrow, One thing new though was the addition of sleep arrows that allows you to put enemies to sleep from a distance and sneak in and finish them off or bypass them entirely. This seems to work even on some of Elden Ring's largest enemies, allowing you to skip them completely to reach that shiny piece of armor or weapon behind them. Now, of course, I would very much love to kill all of them, but this is gonna be fun for maybe the speedrunning community.
True, and even in this like picture right here depicting it, like it could be useful to maybe sleep the giant while you pick off the weak ones first. Who knows how long it lasts, but like that seems viable. You know?
If you get 15 or 20 seconds, that could mean a world of difference depending on how difficult those big boys are.
Yeah, that could be huge. Yeah, that's actually interesting, and who knows, maybe it's something you can actually use on PvP players and build up their sleep or something, who knows.
Oh my god, build up their sleep? That's
like
another really good addition, man.
If they did do that, that's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, a sleep arrow that puts someone to sleep instantly, pretty OP, but if it slowly is like draining them and making them sleepy, you know, the more they get hit, it could be a cool stat proc.
Yeah.
Oh, they have I didn't even think about this, but exploration and crafting. Dark Souls 3 doesn't really have crafting at all.
No.
Other than like, you know, you buy stuff and do stuff with the NPCs. You don't really craft ever, so
Yeah.
exploration has always been a large part of the Souls games, and it might even be the best part for some players who love to see all the intricate and carefully placed details painstakingly added by the From Software team. Exploring the open field will take you to the field bosses, one of which was depicted on the first artwork batch of the game, and defeating them unlocks the checkpoints of the game. Sites of Lost Grace. Okay, so there's going to be field bosses, mini bosses that have Sites of Lost Grace, which are probably the bonfires, right? Is that what we've gathered at this point? Yeah. Okay. Guiding NPCs. I met few but interesting NPCs in my short stay in the lands between. I am happy to report that FromSoft's trademark quirkiness remains, and the voiceovers continue to deliver well-written and atmosphere-fitting lines. Whether they cackle crazily to themselves remains to be seen, but my money is on yes. I saw artwork for an area with a rounded table, a roaring grace flame of sorts, and several statues holding branches that I think may be the hub of the game, that you may access after progressing enough of the story.
And we see a picture.
This picture, yeah.
We see a picture here where there is basically a round table inside this.
Knights of the Round Table right here, yeah.
Yeah, kinda. I mean, if it's the round table, that might mean that this is kind of the middle of the lands. You're in a small but very sturdy looking stone building with some beautiful statues.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the Factorling Shrine, I guess, is kind of that. I mean, it's not in the middle of the world, but just the round building.
Yeah.
And it being the hub. That does look like it would be that. I could see that.
I wouldn't be surprised that outside of the on the edges, outside of the picture, you'll have like more NPCs that maybe can level up your stuff and other things. So it looks great.
Yeah, that looks like a good little hub. I'm down with that. I was told that the narrative and story for the game will not be as hard to grasp or piece together as previous titles, and players can expect to enjoy interpersonal drama amongst the game's multiple protagonists.
Multiple
protagonists. Like how we were both like,
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
aren't we the protagonist here?
Yeah, but you know, I was wondering, because it even mentions George R.R. Martin, like he has so many main characters, you know?
Yeah.
I wonder if they mean like multiple protagonists, like NPCs, like there's other protagonists besides you know?
I suppose.
Or you
know
control multiple, I don't know.
No, I think what this means, right, is that there are going to be multiple NPCs that have like their vision of how things should be in the lands between.
Yes, and we garner like relations with them.
Yeah.
And that will maybe be affected by what we do.
Maybe we choose one of them as a lord, or maybe in my playthrough, I'm gonna backstab all of those fuckers and take anything that I can get for myself.
Kill all the other protagonists in your first playthrough. Okay.
That's
You're
me.
Brave. All right, you take the dark route. I'll go the light. We'll see how that works.
Yeah.
What is this? This matches quite well with George R. R. Martin's books, so you may see the merging of the contextual storyline telling of Miyazaki and the complex interpersonal relations of the Game of Thrones articles in a great way. That is different, though. Like, I mean, you kind of do have NPCs in Dark Souls 3, of course, but, like, none of them... Well, I guess they kind of affect the story in a way. You know, you have Sigurd, if you help him out, he fights a boss with you, you know?
Yeah.
But this seems like it's going to be more complex for sure.
Now for the question in everybody's mind. Yes, I used one of my questions to ask about the pot boy, and here's the answer.
No way.
The pot boys... We hope that players can explore and find their own answers in regards to the pot people. You are free to befriend them if you wish, but we can't promise that you won't have to smash them.
I knew it.
So, rip pot boys, you hold something valuable and thus must die.
That basically is what they look like to me.
Yeah, and the Souls community is going to cry while they smash them, but they will smash them because they do want that good stuff.
100%. I'm not even gonna befriend them. I'm just gonna kill them.
The possible new waifu of the series seems to be introduced during the demo, as you are greeted by the red-haired Melina, who lowers her cloak to reveal an eye tattoo shut. Reveal an eye tattooed shut. There you go, and declares. Greetings, traveler from beyond the fog. I am Melina. I offer you an accord. I say possible new waifu because she had some mysterious blue glow around her that looked like a lot like what you used to summon your mount, and made me think, is she the steed? Are you telling me that we might ride Melina?
That she might transform into our steed.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And
I mean, the spirits you summon, they'll have the blue glow as well, so I don't know, maybe she's like a... Yeah.
Maybe not.
I guess we'll see.
And in Elden Ring, players will have more to explore than ever before, and they will spend a good amount of time doing so on the trusty steed. I really hope that we get the opportunity to mix up our steed. I do know that some of the leaks indicated that we will have plenty of different animals to ride, like a bear. At some point,
Ooh,
I read.
I want a tiger. I want a tiger, man. That'd be cool.
But we'll see. Now, the Spirit Steed is a new addition to the formula, instantaneously allowing players to mount and be on their way. What struck me about this was how seamlessly this was handled, and in the footage the player was mounted and jumps down off a massive cliff and was galloping away in a matter of seconds. It looked so smooth. What I noticed is that FromSoft didn't try to make the horseback riding feel real, but instead focused on good controls that almost looked more action-y in nature. That is to say that you can turn the horse on a dime, like you can, with your character, and it doesn't look like you're driving a boat around and having to plan your turns in advance.
That's good, actually. I hate when I mean, it makes sense you have to turn the horse slowly in real life, but like it's much more unique in this game to be able to just quickly maneuver.
You know, in The Witcher, you do have to plan your
yeah, because you have to steer them, right? Like, it can't be like this insane, just turn like 240 degrees left, just...
Exactly. So...
But yeah.
Cool. Realism isn't always, necessary.
That's not what we're playing for,
No.
yeah. Unless you're playing Horse Simulator, you don't really need realism. It's funny. Note that the Spirit Steed doesn't take your equip load into account. So you will move the same speed on it regardless of how heavy you are. Okay. I thought it meant it was going to slow your horse down if you were overburdened. That would have been funny, honestly.
It's like, you're too fat to ride me! Get off!
Yeah. You got like 2 ultras, the heaviest arm of the horse is just like slowly walking. That would have been fair, but I get why they didn't do it. The steed seems to have saddlebags, which make me think that you can store things with your Spirit Steed, or that it may function as your item box. Interesting. It's likely you'll be able to purchase this from a vendor or craft it from materials gathered on the landscape.
I mean, that's
that's
good.
Interesting. It's like a traveling item box. If so, I'm not against it. You don't have to always go back to your bonfire or grace, I guess.
Yeah.
Mounted combat. Something I'm happy isn't in the online. Just gonna throw that out there. That would have been terrible.
Yeah, if you're gonna create mounted combat, I think you have to base the game around it.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't. I was treated to a few short bursts of mounted combat, and one particularly intriguing still that featured what looked like a jousting lance charged toward another mounted opponent. In general, you can use magic, archery, and melee weapons from horseback. I was wondering that. Imagine getting chased by a 3-man gank team of horse wizards.
Oh no! Oh, don't you?
That would have been terrible.
Dude, I didn't even think about that until now, and I already
Oh
have
my
PTSD
God.
from that
That'd be
vision.
terrible.
Family now.
I'm so glad they didn't. Okay. Allowing you to battle enemies while on the move. The combat itself looked responsive, but it was not possible to tell how something like iframes or blocking/dodging would work. The mounted fight I saw cut off to dismount combat shortly after. Yeah, they probably just like ran into each other, slashed their weapons, and then jumped off and fought, I bet.
Yeah.
That seems like it. Oh, you go take this one, crafting master.
Well, yes, thank you. Crafting. How much role of exactly crafting has to play in Elden Ring is not immediately clear, but I was made aware of the fact that you can harvest plants on the landscape and make things out of them, or you can hunt animals and use their meat and bones to make things like dried meats, which operates much in the way of grass did in the Souls games, providing you with an increased stamina recovery for a short time for animals to hunt. I spotted sheep, deer and eagles during these short travels in periods that you saw, and that makes sense because now there's probably some, green blossoms that grows out there in the wilderness. So instead of just buying it, you actually have to go down and you have to harvest it.
Yes, and on the bright side, it's the stamina grass as well, not the health grass. So it's like you're not farming heals, but you're farming like stamina regen, let's say, which is fine.
I wouldn't be surprised though if there is like a there might be a let's say what's it called, a Siegbrow. There might be crafting
like a type of a
in
small
the game.
oh true, or like small heals that you can find if you run out of Estus on your journey, I guess.
I mean, I suppose this is fine because we already have 10 Siegbrows in the game now.
Yeah,
you and
we already
I.
have like alt heals. Imagine life gems. Like, I mean, those were pretty prominent in Dark Souls 2. So
They were, weren't they?
yeah, I think I used them more than my Estus at times.
Yeah,
so,
probably.
yeah, I guess we'll see how they do that.
But you can also craft special arrow tips that provide various effects, like the sleeping one that I just talked about. And one could extrapolate that sleep arrows, oh there you go, are likely ones of these. From Software was quick to clarify though that you can still buy many of these things from vendors, but crafting is an alternative means of acquiring them, which could be nice, you know, because you're out there in the wilds, right? And you can probably not I don't know, but can you just fast traveling from one area to the next when in the lands between? Maybe you can't do that, so you are in desperate need of some boosts, and you can just, oh, here's some stuff, I can use that, and we can get some extra combat boosts.
Yeah, they haven't really touched on that. I guess when you find the field bosses, like it said above, you get the grace, which is your bonfire. But I mean, when you're just in the open world, maybe you can't just warp back easily. They haven't really talked about it. But I could see it, I guess. It's just open world exploration, right?
Yeah. Note that in order to craft certain items, you must find recipes which can be acquired as a treasure around the game or from defeating specific enemies you might find on the map. Again, this is something I'm looking forward to see what the speedrunning community will do with, because that means, oh, maybe we'll have to go over here and grab that special recipe before we move on to the next of the next bosses. There is so many different things they have to experiment with. I'm gonna really be looking at those speedrunners right now.
Yeah, it's actually gonna be exciting as well. 1 sec.
Oh, you have
my
to.
coffee is in the way.
Oh,
okay.
no.
And it's getting colder. Oh no.
Well, drink your coffee,
Take
man.
A nice swip.
I mean, we are 52 minutes into the.
We
into
are
the
podcasting here, basically.
Yeah, I mean, if
our video is gonna be like an hour long. What the fuck?
I mean, if
It's a
people
lot,
are
man.
still watching, they're not gonna leave now. You know what? Leave a comment saying, "Are you still watching? If so, I want to give you a proud goat."
A nice proud goat for you.
Yeah.
So we left off. Okay, so we're on the Elden Ring map. All right, yeah.
Yeah.
New to From Software games is an addition of an overworld map. That's going to be interesting to me. really. Like, we never had a map in any of the Souls games, so. That's right, you heard me, a map. This allows players to see where they are in the lands between. Okay, specifically in the lands between, it's saying.
Yes.
Maybe not the dungeons, yes.
I don't think that is necessary. In fact, I mean,
Yeah.
when you're in the dungeon, or the legacy dungeons as they're called, you just have to move forward. That's all you have to do.
Onward! That is true, though. And to figure out where to go next, pieces of this map will be obtained through the course of your adventure, allowing you to see more and more of it over time. That is to say, you can't see everywhere immediately. What's really cool about the map is that it allows you to set custom markers on it. That once marked appear in your game world as a beam of light shining in the sky. Oh, you can actually mark, like in shooters, where you ping. Okay. Much the way that they do in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. This makes it easier to find that once marked, and prevents you from having to keep reopening your map to see where you are in relation to where you are trying to go. The categories for the map did not have names on the demo, but from their icons, one could speculate that you could get up to 100 markers for weapons, bosses, enemies, fauna, flora, gems, chests, banners, trees, and castles. Okay, so there's different markers for each thing that you can use to mark them, I guess. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
100 though, that's immense. I'm surprised. Also, what is fauna and flora?
That's animals and plants.
Okay. Oh, okay, yes. I thought they were going for like some code for an item, but yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Well, I'll send you some Wikipedia articles on nature later on, Chase.
Yes, I need to brush up on my nature. Gotta touch grass.
Well, continuing on here, I've seen nothing about maps for dungeons or legacy dungeons yet, so I don't know if these will be a part of Elden Ring or if From Software will decide to leave these more traditional areas without one, as they historically have. I think the best would be to not put them in the map, because do we really need them? Do you really need a map when going through Irithyll, Chase?
Yeah, no. If they're like, no. I mean, the map is only important because open world, and I don't even know how like large that is, but it must be large if they decided to put a map in.
This is interesting though, because the overall map did have a button to press your right stick to display a subterranean labyrinth, so I'm very curious as to whether that is yet an unannounced extra feature or related to the dungeons of the game. Now, I mean, will there be a nether? Will you be traveling underground? Traveling?
I mean, that's something very different.
I was also thinking about Bloodborne's Chalice dungeons, but we'll see. I mean,
that does remind me of that one image we saw where it was like an underground labyrinth from that like octopus-looking face. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be different.
Well, moving on here, dungeons and legacy dungeons. While you're out traveling or traversing the lands between on your spirit steed, you will eventually run into dungeons and legacy dungeons. Dungeons are smallish enclosed areas that are full of traps, monsters, and a boss that reward players with equipment, skills, or other rewards. These can be done alone or with players and showcased the return of illusory walls. Now this is very exciting actually, because if you can do these rather small dungeons with other players, maybe we will be able to invade these small dungeons. However,
I honestly think we're able to invade the open world actually, because they talked about like
no PvPing on steeds. I don't think they
no co-op at all on steeds.
Yeah, so I don't think that's going to be the case, man. I'm sorry to burst your bubble here, but I'm going to go on a limb here.
I get it. I don't know. I feel like you'd be able to co-op in the open world, though. I feel like that's something that they mentioned, actually.
Well, we will see.
I guess we'll see when we get to the... I forget. I might be misremembering.
Don't get me wrong, though. I hope you're right. I absolutely hope you're right.
Areas, right? Yeah. I forget if it said that in the first one.
But the thing to remember here, right, is that if there are these smallest dungeons that you can do with people, it would be incredibly annoying if you're going to PvP in these dungeons to to be in a small dungeon and wait there and invade, which leads me to believe that there might be a world invasion mechanic, like Vex
Yeah,
does.
I assume they've probably seen like all the content that's still being made on Dark Souls to this day, right? Like they have to see some of it. And they probably have seen that, yeah, like something similar to the Wexdust mod, where you just invade people in the right level range of you, and you don't have to stand there specifically, maybe.
Yeah,
That would be a good addition for the online, yeah.
Miyazaki did say that it's going to make this less annoying for people, so...
and that was one of the more annoying things, yeah.
Yeah.
You had to actually find where people were, and yeah. So that's, I mean, yeah, that's cool. More dungeons, more online. I'm always for that. What
Now,
is this?
Yeah, you go ahead. You take the legacy dungeon.
Are we in? Oh, we're in the legacy. Okay, yeah. While you're out traversing the lands between on your spirit steed, you will eventually run
I did
into
read that.
dungeons
You take the next.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second. Okay. Under the picture.
Your family now.
No, over the picture. The first.
Oh, legacy dungeons are much larger and a sort of their own sub area inside the lands between. They are called legacy dungeons because they are about the size of a style of what one area from a Souls game would be, allowing for a sort of pseudo self-contained theme and experience. So yeah, the legacy dungeons are like the regular Dark Souls 3 areas.
Yeah.
That's what we guessed, but yeah. The one I was shown in the gameplay segment was called Stormvale Castle, image above. And it afforded two approaches, either heading inside through the main gate or taking the side path and sneaking in behind the enemies inside. The first option was much more combat-oriented, while the second allowed for a more subtle approach. Players will often be provided these sort of options in Elden Ring, allowing them to tailor difficulty to some degree. So they really did make the level design focused on, hey, you can go running in and warrior it up, or you could sneak and stealth a lot of the options as well. That's pretty cool, actually. Yeah, we'll get to see different gameplay segments from different people, you know, like the ways they choose.
And this is also something that will affect PvP. I read in the IGN article that the first area of Stormvale Castle, right? You can either go straight through the main gate and fight through all of these enemies, like standard, or you can sneak around. But if you sneak around, there will be you might be on the edge, and one mistimed dodge roll will send you careening to your death.
Ah, that'd be cool, actually. Add some spice to the stealth as well.
Yeah, so this means that if you are invading in this area, then...
I love how your mind is in PvP.
It goes there automatically, man. But if you're invading in this
funny.
area, you have to make a choice. Okay, did the guy go through the main area, or did the guy go through the sneak area, right? And if...
True. You mean in tracking them down, yeah.
Yeah, when you're tracking them down. At first I was a little afraid that it was going to be difficult for us to find the host and their cronies, but when I think about it, if there are no dead enemies in the main area, go and check the sneak area. You know, I think...
Yeah, you could probably still just find the dead enemies, yeah. Or if they're alive, if they've been sneaking through. That's true. Where are we? Okay, yeah. So after traversing a greenish fog gate, I saw the boss of Stormvale Castle, who is none other than the one shown during the gameplay trailer reveal at E3. And it was absolutely insane. You confront this boss in a graveyard littered with yellow flowers and with the prominent corpse of a dragon nearby. The trademark From Software boss music sets the tempo, and after pronouncing, "I command thee, kneel," the boss proceeds to unleash a barrage of heavy AoE attacks, including fire breath, grabs with its dragon head arm. Our champion tried to fight back by summoning what I can only describe as Onion Bro's long-lost evil cousin, Pumpkin Bro. Oh no. Who had an enormous pumpkin head and a flail, but it was for naught. The encounter reminded me in some ways, a giant slave knight Gale with many arms that was uber aggressive towards the player, who subsequently died. It was easily my favorite part of Stormvale, but my second favorite thing was how jump was used in this area.
I just want to do a little side note here. I think this article is very well written, and we're reading from the Fextra Life article. I'll probably link it down below, but I just want to say good work on the author's part.
Yeah, they put a lot of detail on this. I did not expect us to easily be crossing the hour threshold on this video.
Yeah.
Okay, so jumping exploration. While jumping makes some differences in combat encounters, where it regularly changes the game is in the exploration department. Yeah, I imagine they were going to start creating like a lot of areas where you have to like traverse through like up walls and around with parkour. Speaking of parkour.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
dude,
it'll be interesting.
parkour videos. We can have like races. You know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you know, they're speedrunning, but now they can like literally it's gonna be a little bit more intriguing to just go through the area rather than just run straight through everything, you know what I mean? So
Just imagine, right, with cheat engine, if it's still gonna work out, we can press a key, kill all of the enemies in the area, and now you summon people and they race to the finish.
yeah, it'll be interesting.
Hmm.
1 second. Okay. Where was I? So yeah, by adding jump and subsequently reducing fall damage, that's interesting, by the way, to a much more manageable amount, players are now able to take great risks in pursuit of reaching places they never would have tried to before. And this allows players to see the game world in a way they have never before. Parkour!
There it is.
There it is. This, of course, is all factored into Elden Ring's incredibly detailed and elaborate design, especially in Legacy dungeons. And you are rewarded for doing so in the form of treasures and loot, almost as if From wanted you to go there all along, and you thought it was your idea. Imagine for a second that you could get onto the roof of Anor Londo and then jump from the rooftop to rooftop, then plunge down through an open skylight onto Smo's head, and if you might have some idea what the sense of freedom could be like in Dark Souls 1. Oh, I wonder if they're going to have openings like, well, they're probably going to have openings like that as a boss fight because this guy just made that reference.
Yeah.
But that's interesting that you can maybe start boss fights in different ways, you know? Not just by walking through the front door.
Yeah, maybe if the boss is like wandering around or maybe even sleeping, you can
You can stealth it in a way to start it and get like a good hit off, you know?
Exactly. Like the Asylum
That might
Demon.
help the people, yeah, that have issues with certain bosses. That could be, oh yeah, the Asylum Demon, true, but you just kill him like that.
Yeah, you jump down, right? But what if you could either choose to just fight him from the beginning or do the whole walk around and plunge him? It's
Yeah, if they give options for boss fights like that, it definitely will be interesting to see what people do. Wait, what is it? Okay, yeah. It is perhaps the single biggest change in the grand scheme of things, and one that feels like it has been here when you watch the gameplay. It will completely change how you approach the game, and more importantly, it will very significantly change how you can expect multiplayer encounters to unfold.
yeah. So
I like that they're very focused on that. Speaking of, look at that, multiplayer and online.
yes, allow me.
You started up, Somi.
All
I mean,
right.
homie. Somi.
So me. After reading all of that, you might be wondering if you can play together cooperatively with other players, and the answer is yes. Yes, you can, with up to 2 of them actually. While not all details are immediately clear, it does seem like Elden Ring will use a similar system to Dark Souls 3, allowing players to put their signs down and be summoned in most locations, including the overland areas, which I don't exactly know what means. Does it mean the lands between? Maybe you were right that while you cannot ride, you cannot summon your steed when you're in the online multiplayer area, you can still co-op with friends there.
I remember reading, I don't know what article it was at the beginning, but they did mention that, yeah, there was co-op in the open world, and I was like, oh, damn. I mean, it makes sense, though, because most people want to play this game with a friend, to be honest, right? Like, it's just like a fun travel game, so I feel like it would be weird if they didn't let it in the open world. I just wasn't sure how they would condense it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, people are going to PvP as well, so...
And you will also be
Seems
able
like
to
it.
summon people in dungeons and legacy dungeons.
Yeah, also, so they even thought about the open world having the online first.
Yeah.
Interesting.
One particular thing that I want to mention is that phantoms, I'm not sure what they are called in Elden Ring, don't appear to look much like phantoms at all and are much less translucent and look much more just like regular characters, who features a slight tinge of orangey red. It's quite a change, and you'll notice it immediately because, you know, that probably has something to do with the lore in Dark Souls.
And the
phantoms.
fashion.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, I always want to look good.
Yeah, I don't want to be red and stuff. I want to be more host color. But yeah, having like a slight aura, I'm down with that. You know, that's fine.
What's not clear is whether or not your cooperators will remain after bosses are defeated, whether or not you can rest at checkpoints called Sites of Lost Graves while they are present, and whether you can transition from the overland to dungeon or legacy dungeons if you already have a cooperator with you. We did see a multiplayer team take on a field boss that unlocked a checkpoint, and the cooperators didn't immediately depart, so I think we can expect these answers soon as more gameplay is shown. So I wouldn't be against having the people that's with you just stay if you want to continue forward. For example, maybe the boss just completely fills up your Estus, because of course it's going to do that anyway when you sit by the bonfire, so we can just more smoothly continue on through the campaign together.
Yeah, I would prefer that. I guess the only thing that, like, honestly, just don't let a host sit at a bonfire wall. But I don't know if they can differentiate between co-op and PvP, you know?
Well,
if they could, though, that would be awesome. Like, if you're invaded, obviously you can't sit at a bonfire, but I wouldn't mind it too much for co-op, really.
Here comes something, though. Here comes something that's interesting, what you talked about, and it's an important note to clear up, that you cannot use a spirit steed while cooperating, and it will be disabled as long as other players are in your game world. This means you'll be huffing it on foot when playing with others, which leads me to the PvP and how it factors into this decision. So, okay, I think you're right now. I think that we will be able to have cooperators in the main world. It's just that no horsey when other players are there.
That's what I pictured originally. Like, you choose co-op, horse gone. Like,
yeah.
But that's interesting, because then that makes it much more fun, honestly. But at the same time, I guess we'll see here, right? PvP works much the same way as in Souls games, allowing players to invade the game world of others in most locations in Elden Ring. You can also place a dueling stone down. Okay, so they still have the silver red soapstone, like you could in Dark Souls 3. In those cases, you want to challenge other players directly. Initially, it was made clear there would be no mounted combat in PvP. But what was confusing was that you could be invaded on the overworld, so how would that work if players were already mounted? Well, we now know the answer to that question. Invaders will never invade a mounted player because players cannot be mounted in cooperative play. This is to say you can only invade players that are cooperating, not players who are alone. So that was the little snippet we saw where you can't invade a lone host, basically.
Well, that's true, but here's the thing, Chase. They didn't say that you could invade only players that have people. They said you can't invade the overworld when you have a horsey, which might mean that in the legacy dungeons you can still invade people alone.
Oh, I was confused at where you were going, but yeah, I see what you mean. So in the open world you might not be able to invade. Well, it says that is to say you can only invade players that are cooperating, not players who are alone. I don't know if this statement comes in context of only the open world or just the game in general.
Yeah, we don't know, but
we don't know.
The important thing to mention is you cannot invade people on a horseback.
So if people are playing alone on horseback, you're not invading them. But maybe you're right. Maybe in the dungeon, if they're alone, it's a dungeon and there's no horseback in general. So maybe you can be invaded. I didn't even think about that. That's a good point, though.
So it depends.
Which I'm not too sad about, because open world invading a lone guy, that's like it's not a huge deal. But yeah, the dungeons, that'd be a cool thing to do to keep people happy, I guess. You'd have best of both worlds if they did it that way.
I really hope that they do it this way, because again, I still want to invade. I mean, it would be preferable to have invade both single hosts
like everyone,
and
because it's just more invasions. It's more online in general, but I can see what they're going for. This is a controversial decision, to be sure, and one that will likely send more than a few hardcore PvP players over the edge. But one that From Software was quickly to clarify has not been finalized.
Oh.
So they're working with the idea of this. If I had to guess, I'd wager they may want to see how the community responds to the news to gauge whether they are more for or against this change. I'd urge those who have something to say about it to post in comments, as it is very likely these will be read by either From Software or Bandai Namco. So, okay, interesting. So this article actually came to us from the Extra Life video. So maybe if viewers want to comment their opinion, go to that video and comment.
I quite frankly think that both. I think that with this information, both you and I should make a video on each of our channels, just saying, hey, PvP is a very important aspect of the game, and I would very much to be able to invade people who are alone. You might have you can probably increase the timer on people that are alone or something like that.
Or I mean, off. Like, if I was trying to think of it in both ways. Like, some people want to play alone and not get invaded, but I mean, that's what the offline is for, right? Like, why do they? You already have that option if you play offline. So I don't know what they have to gain by being online if they're not co-oping anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
I guess you can see messages, but like maybe, I mean, I don't know. That's a hard way to balance that, I guess. But
a lot of the time, though, for me, a lot of the time, these messages are nice messages, so
they're not like important, I guess. But like,
so I sometimes
or maybe they
find
could
them to be
keep the
spoilers
like.
even.
Yeah, that's true. I guess everybody can comment their decision. I like honestly like. I'd rather have everyone be able to invade. That's more online in general, right? Like more people will get to experience it, but
I'm 100% with you on that. But I will say that even if it's not the case, even if we can only invade co-opers in these main areas as well, if you just think to Dark Souls currently, there's a lot of people who
there is, like no matter what,
co-op.
people are going to be co-oping, right? So.
Yeah, even 5 years into the game, man, 5 years into the game, we still have plenty of co-opers.
Yeah, the most things I do invade are co-opers. Like, I'd rather fight a co-op team anyway. So like, I'm happy kind of either way. But like, the more people to invade, the better is, I guess, my stance on it. So
I absolutely agree.
Passwords will also be making a return. So if you want to play with a friend or set friends, you can use this password to find one another. But something new that's really cool is the addition of group password. This allows players to use the same password to find one another, just like regular passwords. But it means they also only see the asynchronous features of those players as well. So like, so if you only want to see bloodstained signs and messages from specific people, then you can. So like, if we did like a co-op thing, right? In our first playthrough, let's say me and you set the same password, we would see each other's only messages and stuff.
Okay, well that's cool. You know what? I might do that my first time through.
For like your community, you know, like you set a password for your community and you would see your viewers like messages and stuff. That could be really cool, actually.
I'm gonna let everybody know right now the password is pale.
I knew you were going to say something like that.
Capital P. Pale.
I'd have to decide. I guess I don't know what I'd put. Bros. That's kind of common, though. I need a more unique one.
Well, the bros. Just the bros. The bros. I think that would be fun.
That would be good. In case you're wondering, we will have a group password for Extra Life. Yeah. Oh, they have their own, too. They did what we just did. They're plugging.
I mean, that's fair. Hey, guys.
That's fair.
Great article, Extra Life. Go check them out. And
honestly, this is so much more info than I thought it was going to be. Like, wow.
I read the IGN article, and you have no idea how much information that they missed. I feel like I can say this now because we are 1 hour and 16 minutes into the podcast.
Basically.
Before Chase woke up here and got his coffee, I made a 12-minute video just reading through everything that the IGN article
12 minutes. Oh my god, that was like the first section of this.
Yeah, it had no information about the PvP. It lacked like so much information. They had more information about they didn't have more information, but they had the same information about, oh, you can jump now and there's more exploration to be done and stealth. But man, dude,
this one's impressive.
It's very impressive.
Ooh, returning gestures though.
I'll take
I kind
this
of
one.
assume that. Yeah, that's all you.
Yeah, we had the opportunity to ask questions to From Software, and one of them was what they may see as the new Praise the Sun or similar catchphrase for the game. Of course, they were more than modest about their appreciation of the community's love for these titles and suggested Elden Ring has such a great abundance of catchy text, content, and story elements that they can expect anything to happen. I did keep an eye out of possible gestures and emotes, and I noted hurrah, joy, applause, and Bloodborne's deep respect.
Okay, so they went with some favorites here.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
What did Extra Life think of the gameplay that they saw? Well, at the end of my time with From Software, they asked me what I thought about the presentation, as I was the first of such they had done and that they were looking for feedback. I candidly replied that I am at least 3 times more excited for Elden Ring after seeing it and getting questions answered and having more about the game as written and thought more about the game as I've written down. This remains to be the case. Oh my god, that's a difficult sentence.
Yeah, it's weird. And having thought more about the game as I've written it all down, this remains to be the case. Yeah, I get what they're going for.
Thank you, Chase, for saving me there.
I got you.
Elden Ring feels like Dark Souls, there is no denying it, but it's a form of Dark Souls that is nearly perfected. Miyazaki and From Software seems to be on a quest to make a very specific game, revamping and tweaking it throughout the years in order to get closer and closer to that game that has been in their mind's eye. In my estimation, Elden Ring is the closest to that vision From Software has ever come. Watching the gameplay, I was absolutely blown away by what I witnessed, but what was more intriguing was the lack of surprise I felt. Nothing was really unexpected, nothing caught me off guard, and even though the wow factor was full on 100, everything I felt like it had always been there. That is to say, if you knew nothing about Dark Souls, From Software or Elden Ring and were just watching the gameplay, everything would still make perfect sense. It's a hard feeling to describe, but I have a feeling it won't be too long before you get to see what I mean, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I guess they mean the world setting and everything in it belongs and looks perfect. Like, you don't need to know anything about From Software, what they do. It's just like a just perfectly made game, you know?
This is the evolution of everything that has come before, and I'm super excited.
Yes, tech has allowed them to advance it. I'm so hyped. I'm actually got like 5 months left.
Now, unfortunately, no news was provided to us that we can share about upcoming public gameplay showings or the possible network test or anything in that nature, but I would expect players to be informed about such things in the not-too-distant future. If you have further questions about Elden Ring, I will try to answer. Well, okay, that's just the guy saying his goodbyes in the thing, but man, dude.
That was a lot of info, actually. They shared a lot, and nothing that really disappointed me. It's all pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah, I mean, to tell you guys, Fighter was the one who shared this article with us, and I read in the group chat with you, me, Fighter, and Prod about how we will only be able to invade co-op hosts now, but I don't think that is necessarily going to be the case on
the dungeon thing you brought up is a very good point. Yeah, like either way, plenty of invasions to go around, but yeah, definitely it would be nice if we could invade just anyone.
I think
more to go.
Yeah, and they said that the decision is not finalized, so it might. So what might happen is that
the people might sway their vote if they see it all.
Yeah,
I did look at the video actually after that, and a lot of the comments were like, please, like a lot of the time as a playthrough I like to be alone, but I like to be invaded. So like even from people that like to play through, they like to be invaded as well. So
it's such a unique experience, man. It really is. And even if you suck at the game, I mean, I have a lot of people that say, oh, I'm not really that good, but I just think that it's such an exciting and unpredictable
mechanic. Like you're playing Dark Souls, like that's such a core part of Dark Souls. People don't understand, like the online covenants and everything about that is really one of the top leading reasons I love the game. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I feel like the more people play, the more they would enjoy that they experienced it. So
yeah. Well, I actually really have to go start my stream, Chase.
All right. Well, that was fun. We will call it there. That was an hour video, basically. So we're gonna
an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah. All right. I will end my recording there. Thank you guys for watching. If you stuck through the entire video, that's probably the longest video I'm gonna upload that isn't a stream. So it's gonna be long. But hang on a second. Oh yeah, bye chat, bye video viewers.
Bye everybody.
Bye everyone. Leave your comments about what you thought. Goodbye.